I had a patient come into the office and she is in her 40s, and her biggest struggle is that she is tired all of the time. She's tired when she wakes up, she's tired when she's at work, she's tired when she's driving home from work, and sometimes she even said, like, hey, this is a little bit dangerous because my eyes are getting a little bit too heavy on the way home. So she can barely keep her eyes open at any point in the day. And no matter how much she sleeps, whether it's little or a lot, she still feels the same way. And this has gone on for over 5 years now. So she started noticing too that her skin would get really flushed, whether it was on her face or her shoulders, her arms or legs. She was getting this flushing, and doctors were telling her that she's normal, there's nothing going on, but seeing all these signs get worse over time, she wanted to try something different. So we ran some functional labs to find out why she was feeling this way. And on page 1, you can see that her immune system is flared up. Both her white blood cells and her neutrophils are responding. Her MPV is high as well. Her GFR rate for the kidneys are getting way too low. And both short-term and long-term sugars are way too high. Then we see triglycerides are getting elevated. And her CRP, which is probably the best inflammatory marker, is cranked up at 10 when this should be less than 1. Also, homocysteine is climbing up, and her vitamin D is very low. She does have an adrenal response here that is affecting her reverse T3 and some of the thyroid function there, and even showing up with autoimmune thyroid markers here as well. And her pregnenolone is getting low too, just showing that there is an adrenal response being affected here, and that is playing into why her estrogens are headed toward the lower end. So for this patient, her fatigue was stemming from her adrenals, her elevated short-term and long-term blood sugars, some of her kidney and liver function that's declining as well, with the immune response being cranked up, which is also tied into the skin reactions. So we did a food allergy test that you see here, and she was reactive to 20 different foods, which most of them she was eating every single day. And this is a huge portion of why her immune system was cranked up and flared. And this is a big variable that every patient can control on their own. So we started supporting the different organ systems that were being affected here based off all her lab work so that we can hone in on, out of those supplements available, what are the exact constituents that her body needs to get her body to heal at a normal pace again. And we made some pretty heavily dietary and lifestyle changes too, so that her body can clear some of the deficiencies that were there and remove a lot of the toxic components too, just to restore overall function. So if you're waking up and you're spending the entire day exhausted and nothing seems to be working, we have to look deeper into your testing. We have to test more and find where these symptoms are coming from, because if there's a symptom, there's a reason why it's there. So comment fatigue down below and I will reach out to you so that we can have our first initial phone call and then figure out what direction and what are the next best steps to hone in on your health and figure out what is behind your fatigue, where it's coming from, and how do we reverse engineer it so that your body can go back to normal.